Welcome to Fusion Point for all your GeForce Now and Xbox news with your hosts Barry and Duncan. What you can put together in half an hour is flipping fantastic, isn't it? So hello everyone and welcome to Fusion Point. This is your GeForce Now and Xbox podcast. I'm just saying that Xbox, you're going to get shouted at by Barry here. But here we go. This is on the channel formerly known as Cloud Gaming Extreme, now known as Fusion Point. We will come on to that shortly, what this all means. Or shut up, you know what I mean. Game Fusion. I'm on Fusion Point, where we all know what I'm talking about. So yeah, we'll come on to that. And if you've got any questions at all, chuck them in the chat and we will deal with them a wee bit later. But we have a ton of news to go through. What we're going to do is we're going to try and keep it to about an hour long. We have been relatively far last week, or 2 weeks ago, but we won't get into that. But yeah, this is brand new. I hope everybody enjoys it. So get the questions in. So Barry, why have we changed this name to Game Fusion?
I think we obviously, I think as we referenced in our community post last week, obviously the foundations, as everybody knows, of Cloud Gaming Extreme have been super strong, and it's built a really great place to be and a great community. But obviously, as we've seen with the ever-evolving gaming space changing, the worlds with cloud has slightly changed. The dynamic in the cloud space has changed in terms of the players in the market, but then also the element of Microsoft being kind of thrust into their partnerships with delivering PC Game Pass on services like GFN have obviously started to reach that point where we felt for us that things were starting to fuse together between those two entities, really. So obviously we wanted to look at the premium cloud gaming service for the best possible experience and tie that in with everything and all of the synergy that it's got with Xbox Game Pass. And that is why we went in the direction of going with Game Fusion. And as you'll see within the logo and some of the channel art, there are branding and elements with colors in the cloud and the way that things like the greens and stuff start to seep in, which was really well done by Duncan. To be fair, he worked really hard on it. And yeah, when you actually look at some of the logo and then obviously the channel background page, you can actually see the colors that resonate with the cloud services past and present, with that little bit of a nod, with then that green inception into there as it starts to work and take over. And he's on mute, so nobody can hear what he's saying. But
I'm just saying we'll get on. That's a load of nonsense now. Let's get on. So yeah,
what do you like?
Yeah, I'm like me. So let's kick this off with quickly, very, very quickly. What have you been playing?
My last week has been occupied by Alan Wake. Alan Wake 2 has been the big occupier of my time, if I'm honest with you. So I love what they've done with it. It plays supremely. It is probably for me up there as one of the most, minus a few of the bugs, polished experiences for this year. I love what they've done with it.
So you've been playing Alan Wake. I'm not going to say my usual game of Creeper World 4. I've been playing Farm Together with Kelly, and yeah, I've been dipping into a load of other games which I will touch on at a later date. But okay, Barry, what is the GFN news for today?
Let me just bring that up for you right now.
basically, we have a lot of news out from GFN. There's over 50 games, 53 games. The question is, do we count one of these as a game? But we'll come on to that a little shortly. And yeah, it's a real mix of games. And if you do not have Game Pass and you're playing on GeForce Now, it's nearly, I think it's a must now. And we can probably touch on that when we're coming on to our big topic later, which we want to hear your thoughts on as well. Barry, what is our big topic?
Our big topic for this week is what's next for cloud gaming.
So what's next for cloud gaming? Let me know your thoughts, everybody, in the chat as well, and we can see what you guys think. So GFN, lots and lots of games, over 53 games coming, 15 today. If you want to scroll on down there a wee touch, and we've got some interesting sort of games coming this week, which we will go into. But this is the interesting one, and this probably opens us up to our bit of our topic later. And this is Vertex Stadium is now on GFN, which is basically a place to watch esports, which is interesting. Is this going to be opening up more sorts of things down the line for
I think it's
GFM?
I certainly think it does. It's not the first time we've seen this type of thing that they've done. Obviously, last year they did the tie-in with Epic for the virtual concert, which you could obviously do through GFN. But this does start, an interesting trend to kind of be able to go in and kind of watch other, obviously those esports titles and what people are doing in those championships.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting where this is going. I think we're going to see more of this down the line from GFN, especially with their Omniverse stuff. I think we're going to definitely see this creep across there. I can't really go too much into this at this moment in time because there isn't much to say about it, but the League of Legends World Finals are coming, and I heard a rumor that the US are doing well in that, so that's pretty good. It's nothing I am big into, but I know a lot of people are. But this is going to give another avenue for people to go and watch that. I just want to see where this is going to go. It's and how it's just intriguing, genuinely intriguing. And remember, this is not on the storefront. This is just their app itself, which is even more intriguing. Are we going to see more of this down the line?
Yeah, I definitely think there's possibilities there, isn't there?
Plurarbs, we are going to answer that a little bit later. Barry, take a note of that question. That is a good question. I think there's an easy answer to that.
Yes, there is indeed.
But we will come to that. They are aware of it anyway, and I think they are trying to deal with it. So we will come on to that a wee bit later. So we'll move on down a bit.
Of course.
Oh, you get or it's about if you link your Twitch accounts to chat, you can put emojis and all that sort of carry on, emotes and all that fun and games.
And obviously it's got the schedule as well, just so you can keep track of anything that you might want to pick up from that weekend of schedule.
What is that Central European time? CET, that's Central European time, isn't it?
No, is it? Yeah, no, it might be actually. Yeah,
it's a good question.
I thought that was CEST.
Yeah. Well, don't worry, we'll move on. There's a time anyway. You can work it out. So Apex has got a bit of an update. If you're into Apex, go check that out. And yeah, we'll come to the games. For people who don't know, when we do this, normally we go through each of these games, or most of these games, which come each week. If it's if it's a bit of a repeat from pretty regular, or from a couple of weeks ago, we won't go into it. But we'll kick this off with Headbangers Rhythm Royale, and this is a bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? Battle Royale, but it's a bit different in that it's like mini games of sorts. It's not like you have to go kill people. It's like nearly like a WarioWare of a sort, where you can go in and do them sort of games, or Mario Party if you want to go for that. But it isn't just a pure up battle royale. It's a bit more fun and gentler, where anybody could win. I get the impression.
Yeah, I was just going to say a very, very similar thing. It looks like it's very much infused with that fun element to that the spin on the battle royale. Not saying, of course, battle royales aren't fun, but I think with what they've tried to do here, they've definitely tried to inject some, some fun into it, and especially when you're playing as a pigeon. I mean, you against 29 other pigeons that's a little bit out there. That's kind of, it puts it into the Fall Guys type of territory for me, or kind of your party animals type thing.
Good. So this one's not too bad. You can play it on Game Pass as well. Play it on Game Pass if you've got Game Pass, so you don't have to buy it straight away. I know a lot of people want to support devs and buy games. Don't be worried about that. They have signed a contract. They know what they're going to make or lose because of Game Pass. So don't feel like you need to go and buy it if you're going to play it on Game Pass. You can do if you really want to support the devs, but that is the part of Game Pass, is they make money in different ways on Game Pass. It could be an upfront payment. It could be the more times you play it, they get money. There's lots of different ways they make money. So if you're going to play games on Game Pass, don't feel bad about it and you're not supporting the devs, because I know a lot of people actually feel like that.
Yeah, no, it's a valid point, because obviously there are different mechanisms there for the developers to kind of make money from those sorts of things. So it's definitely worthwhile shouting that out for sure.
Yes, very much so. The next game, again, it is on Game Pass, is Dissect. What can you tell me about this? Have you jumped into this at all yet?
I haven't jumped into it. Obviously, it went, even though the news came out, obviously today, this actually went live on the 31st of August when this dropped into Game Pass and when it released. So, which is good, because it's day one release. It's one that I am looking forward to jumping into, because I really like the way that they've taken the art style and kind of the general feel of the game. Looks like something that I can quite easily get into and enjoy.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are enjoying this, and see Zero wants to go in and have a bit of play on that as well. It does look like it's got something about it, so I'm looking forward to giving this a bit of a go as well. And the options are to play it wherever you want. I wasn't sold on this when I seen the trailer initially, but because it's on Game Pass, it has got me going. I'm going to give it a go. And that's what you want, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's one of the benefits of having a sub like that is there's less resistance to trying something if you're not quite sure whether it's a game for you, because obviously you're going to dive into it because it's attached to the monthly sub that you're already paying, so it's there. You don't lose anything by trying it, other than the little bit of time that you invest in it, whether you decide whether you like it or whether you don't.
Yeah, cool. What's the next game? And you can intro the next game.
I can indeed. The next game is one that was on my wish list and is now in my library, which I'm very much looking forward to picking up and playing. RoboCop is a franchise that I absolutely love. So we've got RoboCop Rogue City, which of course most of us have seen. RoboCop, I'm pretty sure most people have. A classic 80s film of obviously police officer turned kind of machine / animatronic cop, if you like. So obviously published by Nikon. It's obviously taking you back into old Detroit, and there's a little bit of a twisted story there in terms of the new world that they're trying to create and trying to shift out from the old parts of Detroit. So obviously you take on the form of RoboCop throughout that. So I'm definitely looking forward to jumping into this.
Yeah, what I've seen about RoboCop is some of the reviews, and the reviews are pretty good. It says it is blending the cheese of 1980s, but actually trying to be semi-serious at the same time. They've struck the balance right. It is not trying to do anything fancy. It is just go there and have some fun. And I've actually seen, I swear to you, that people are putting this on their Game of the Year lists, and they think it should be on the Game of the Year. They're having that much fun with it.
I mean, that's I wouldn't necessarily have taken that from what I've seen of RoboCop. If I'm honest with you, it just looked like hella fun, to pick up and play through. But wow, that says a lot if some people are kind of going in that territory of putting it there.
And yes, thank you for that. And when we do this, and there is a worldwide GFN issue. Thank you, Callinus, for that news. Yes, I just see that it is confirmed there is a worldwide global outage. GFN is experiencing a global outage. We're working on a fix to bring back the service as soon as possible. And there seems to be a load of issues. They seem to have taken the global services offline. Okay, I think we'll move this for a second, and we'll go to the questions, because I think this is going to interrupt. Why are we having so many issues with GFN at the moment, Barry?
Well, I think Casewell referenced it and led into it. That obviously there were kind of a few servers down in the EU servers, but they're also seeing obviously an increased and quite heavy demand at the moment. It's actually something I caught up with. What night was it? I think it was either Sunday night, possibly, or Monday night that myself and Duncan caught up. And I went to jump into something, and I'm on the ultimate tier, and I said to Duncan, I was like, "Whoa, hang on! It's telling me that there's a queue. There's 2 people ahead of me or 3 people ahead of me, to kind of be able to get into a rig." So yeah, that's it's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a combination. They're having issues with some of the servers in Central Europe, which is having a knock-on effect with people having to key into the other regions, plus the extra sort of increase in users, because we are starting to see this. This was even before the issues with the servers. There was queues starting to form, and yeah, it's not good at all, and that is the problem with cloud gaming. We talk about it. We don't hide away. We don't shy away. With cloud gaming, there's only a certain amount of spaces there. You will have to queue. You should not be queuing on priority or ultimate, because they are paid for services. We should not be having to queue there. Or if you're queuing there, it should be very, very minimal.
Yeah, absolutely, especially considering
ultimate.
It's part of that. Well, it's part of the message, isn't it? When the in terms of the the sell piece for the product, it very much is. Well, if you're on the free tier, there's queues. If you're priority or ultimate, you should have no queues. But obviously,
yeah, this isn't putting GFN down, because all consoles have issues as well. It is the problem with GFN or any other sort of cloud gaming service. If their platform goes down, you can't play even in offline mode. Because we have seen Xbox services go down recently. We've seen PlayStations go down. I'm expecting this to be up and running pretty swiftly.
I would imagine so. I mean, let's go with the eternal hope that a Windows update's rolled out and it's taking everything down.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. I'm trying to see if we can get any more info here while we're on here, just to see if we can get anything. But I think put it like this, I think they're well aware of the issues that are going on.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, most definitely.
So yeah, we'll go back into the games here. If anybody's any other questions, we will go on. The next game is another game which, if this was last year, this game would be in the running for Game of the Year, I would say, and it's a Talos Principle 2. This came out to stellar reviews as well. It's just under, last time I checked, it was around 90 or just under 90 on Metacritic. So this is another banging game. I was expecting it to be a banging game because the first one had real good reviews as well. It's a puzzle game. It's a pretty difficult puzzle game if it's going to be anything like the last one. So yeah, it's a real good game. What's the price of this bad boy?
Well, let's have a little scroll down and see what let's move the broadcast out of the way. $24.99, or you can buy 1 and 2 for $22.49. So if you don't already have the first one, I would buy both because it's 10% cheaper to buy both.
Yep. Well worth checking that out. Yeah, fun at this moment in time. Again, I'm just trying to find out more info on this as we are on. Let's go on to the next game because we've got actually quite a lot to cover because there is, what's it, 53 games to have a wee quick look at. We're only going to be looking at the other ones really briefly because we'll be doing this next week, going through in a bit more detail. The next one is Stranger Say or Stranger Said or something, or Strangers. I don't know what way to pronounce this one. What way would you pronounce it?
Well, Stranger Said if you're in the UK, and if you are stateside, it's Stranger Z, isn't it?
But there's no space at the end, so it's Strangers. I've got to think.
Now you're just adding confusion, aren't you?
Yeah. This is the game which was made by one person, one student, and it actually looks pretty decent. And I'm actually intrigued by this one, and I think I would probably give it a go. And it's a free-to-play one as well, so that's another free-to-play game on GFN. Yeah, I will be giving this a shot at some stage. Why didn't they get it out last week?
Well, I mean, you've got to ask yourself the question, haven't you? That at 2-3 days past Halloween, they can't. Maybe they should have thought about that and launched in time for Halloween, because it does look. I mean, don't get me wrong. This time of the year, you can kind of launch a horror game and get away with it, but when it's so close to Halloween, it does obviously make you think, why? Why not Tuesday? But no, you are right. It looks interesting, and as you say, made by a single student. It looks incredibly polished for for one person. So I am definitely intrigued to see what that holds.
Yeah, definitely. I know what we should have said at the start here. This is how we're going to be running things going forward. On, have to get this right. Get me to say the name right.
Game Fusion,
because I'm Fusion points in my head. So on Game Fusion, we will be pushing out a trailer of what games are coming to GFN on a Thursday, and then this time every week, or about this time, because I know the time difference is up the left at this moment in time, because the clocks went back. We won't talk about what happened earlier, and
somebody forgot.
And we're going to go in depth into the games and whatever the big news is, so you all can get a bit of a talk about it as well. The next one is Curse of the Dead Gods, which is on Xbox. I'm not sure if we're going into that one or not. I think we could skip that. It's been out for a while, hasn't it?
It has been out for a while.
And it's not on Game Pass either. So that's just bulking up the library there. Again, the next one is Daymare 1994, Sandcastle 1994, World Cup. That's that was the US. Yeah, World Cup year. Fourth year for me. I'm really old. Never mind. So this is a third-person story-driven survival horror game. I seen the trailer earlier, and I thought this looked dead on.
Yeah, sorry, carry on.
No, you work away.
No, I would agree. You kind of look at it, and I don't think it gives you blockbuster vibes. But
What were you saying there?
Blockbuster.
But no, before you changed that, what did you actually try and say there? What was it coming out as?
It's irrelevant what it was coming out as because it was a slip of the tongue. So we'll move on from that. But it doesn't strike me as blockbuster. But equally, when you look at this trailer, it really feels like there's something about it. So I think it deserves its place in this week's list. I think it looks pretty intriguing. I wanted to check the price point on it. £25, I don't think is too bad for this. I know Duncan is going to stick that on his wish list and wait for a sale. But I don't think that's too bad of a price point. But I think it is worth saying at this particular time and point in year, depending on whether you've got sub, which games you're buying, it may be a game that you stick on, on a wish list and either wait for a sale on the basis of prioritizing something like buying an Alan Wake or something else that's come out.
Yeah, it's definitely a wish list. It definitely looks. Definitely, I have to stop. I have to widen my vocabulary. I will be wanting to get this. So there we go. There's my amazing update there. Next game is Endless Dungeon. Okay, a couple of things I want to showcase this week. And this is one of the games I want to showcase for reasons of 4 letters. SEGA. It is another Sega game. Where's Sonic? Where's Football Manager? It's great that these are one. We want Football Manager, and next week is going to be one to watch. I know you talked about this in your video. By Football Manager is going to be one to watch if that is going to go to GFN or not, because that, for me, it needs to go into GFN. If that goes on to GFN, that will bring people to GFN to play. I know if that went to GFN, I will be playing that. I will be playing the Xbox version of it. I will be playing the PC version on Game Pass and having a ball and stinking hundreds of hours into it on there. Football Manager is a must-get title for GFN. And with this dropping, I'm hoping that they strike that deal to bring it across.
I'm in agreement with you. For multiple, obviously, I agree with what you've just said there in terms of it kind of bringing people to play it, and it will often change the way that people would play it as well. So people might ordinarily play the console version because they don't have the raw power to be able to run it. Whereas if you've got it in the cloud, you can play the PC version and you can take advantage of the that powered rig to be able to do everything everything that you need. So I'm I am looking forward to next week to see when this news drops next week, whether we're in a position where we're celebrating and rejoicing because they're dropping Football Manager 2024 into their. The franchise has been in the cloud in the past, and I think this is kind of where it belongs. So I'm intrigued to see whether it happens. But in terms of Endless Dungeon, what are your thoughts on Endless Dungeon, Duncan? Have you played it?
My views on Endless Dungeon are mixed.
Oh, he's leaning into the Steam mixed reviews.
No, I don't know. I think it's a wait till sale for me. What's the price of that bad boy?
Let's have a little scroll down and see what the price is.
25 quid. Yeah,
25
it'll be
quid.
wait. It will be a wait for me. I think I would definitely play it. stop saying bloody definitely, you absolute moonbeam. I would play it.
I
But
can
I
attest to that.
But I wouldn't be paying £25 to play it. Because I'm a stingy little fecker. Sorry.
I mean, I've played it, obviously, as you would have seen, as the page scrolled down there. It's already in my library. I've already spent some time with it. I spent an hour in it so far. Just so only a very small amount of time, but so far that initial hour, the experience has been good. It's been enjoyable. It's fun, and and it's fast paced as well. It's almost a little bit tower defensey type thing, if you like, in terms of going around and setting your traps. Almost a little bit lay down.
So tower defense little game.
Yes. And it plays really well. It really does play well. It's quite well optimized as well.
So why is it getting mixed reviews?
Let's find out. Let's click in. Let's see what they are. Let's have a look. The game feels excellent. Okay, great. Very limited because you have to devote a lot of attention to setting up, watching the progress, and repairing the turrets. If you play solo, you need to switch to AI companion constantly to tell them where to stand. I mean, I'm not sure. For me, I'm not sure that that's necessarily enough. And admittedly, I've only played it for an hour, but so far that hasn't been a problem for me. I mean, that person's obviously still 6 and a bit hours into it. I've not necessarily seen that as a challenge. What are the bad parts? Let's have a little look. I mean, bugs, okay. Most weapons are the same. A few, obviously, AI doesn't seem to be particularly enthralling there, but yeah.
No.
I think possibly...
Okay, we'll move on.
I think they've been a bit harsh there, if I'm honest with you.
Let's move on. Next one we don't need to go into is F1 Manager 2023. It's on Game Pass. Yeah, why are you saying of course?
Because it's the one that we both love to talk about, but
yeah. But the thing is, there's no point because it was on a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, this game here, absolutely. I like the look of. I think this game has something about it, and it looks like a bit of a mix of all the things I want to play. It was meant to be on last month, if I remember right, and it slipped into this month, and it is Heretics Fork, basically a deck builder where you can have a bit of fun.
Duncan game.
That's a Duncan game.
That's what we call a Duncan game.
It's a 100% Duncan game. It is a game you would sit and play for hours upon. Oh, get off it now! I just want to play it. I just want to play that game. That is already on my wish list, and I so want to buy that game.
Now we know. Now we know what to do, eh?
Next game is a game that was meant to be on last week.
Yes, that is correct.
It was slightly delayed, and that's Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged. Looks fine. I think it came too early. I think it came too early. Looks fine. I think you'll have fun with it.
I think that's a very fair summary, if I'm honest. I think both you and myself, Duncan, we jumped in very early to Hot Wheels Unleashed last time round. And I wouldn't say we were disappointed with it particularly, but it does feel like the second iteration of this game is too hot on the heels of the previous one.
I think the issue with it for me anyway is, or the last one, it wasn't a bad game. It wasn't a good game, or a real good game. It fell in that awful middle part where it was okay and forgettable.
Yes, I completely agree.
And there was one little issue with very the box sort of heavy as well. Or you have to get the season pass, you have to get all the expansions and all that sort. Went a bit greedy, on top of not being 100% a, oh my god, this is a brilliant game. It's not like Forza Horizon or even the Crew Motorfest or anything like that. I know it's Hot Wheels, it's slightly different, but that's what that game is up against, because they're just fun, open world sort of racers, whereas we're a bit of fun. So we'll move on to the free games. I hope everybody has been cleaning their free games, because we've actually got one of the free games from a couple of months ago in Cube 2 coming up here. But this week's one in Turtle Boy commits tax evasion. Absolutely brilliant. Go get it. Brilliant game.
100%. I remember when you played this last year when it came out, and you said to me, "It's bloody brilliant. You should play it." And I went and got it and played it, and I completely and utterly, within minutes of playing it, I was like, yes, I see why you've told me to go and play it, because it is what?
It is nuts. Absolutely nuts, but fun. And the best thing about it for me is I want more games like this on GFN. This is on GFN. I'm pretty sure it is. It is on GFN.
Sure it is, yeah.
It's a nice little sweet spot of a game where you can complete it on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, because it's only 3 or 4 hours long. And that's, when I say 3 or 4 hours long, that's getting every single achievement in this has achievements. Does this have achievements? This Epic Store.
Well, it doesn't on here. But it does on Steam. So.
Yeah. So the version you can play on GFN has achievements, but if you're going for all the achievements, you can get all the achievements as well in the 3 to 4 hours. Oh, that's a bit funky looking there. So so that's this week's one. I would say 90% sure that's coming to GFN, if not 95%. Golden Light, haven't heard of that one at all.
No, I'm in the same boat on that one. And I also find it interesting as well, just touching back onto Turnip Boy for a second, in the fact that, of course, the second one is due this year, unless they've delayed it, which I've not seen a comms that they've delayed it. I think it's still on track, but...
and that's going to Game Pass?
It is indeed.
So we'll drop back here. Spoilers, I just spoiled something here. Kingdoms Reborn. This is a Duncan game. We'll get that over and done with. The only thing that's putting me off that is it seems to be multiplayer heavy. I don't want to do multiplayer. I just want to build my base in peace and leave me alone. I do not want to interact with people. People are evil and smelly. So that's what I want. I just want to build it completely in isolation.
How do I even follow that up? But yes, well, it says play multiplayer or solo.
But what's first?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I take your point.
That's like saying let's go play some Sea of Thieves. That's good multiplayer or solo. Like balls, you can play that solo. Yes, technically you can play it solo, but no, it's not a solo game. This has got too many multiplayer things on it. This is a multiplayer game. Yes, you can play it a bit solo. That's put me off, even though it's my sort of game. No, I'm not playing that.
There we go.
Cube 2, I can talk about this. This game, I have completed this many times across many platforms. Brilliant game. If you like Portal, it has achievements. The achievements are relatively easy to get. Just think sort of like Portal. If you like Portal, you're gonna love this game. The first cube is not as good as this one. This actually really improves from the original. Definitely worth playing this if you like your 3D puzzle games like Portal.
Perfect. That sounds like a good pickup, and it's not too bad. Is £27 a fair, or £28? Is that a fair reflection of the price?
Why the hell didn't you claim that when it was free on Epic? This was free on Epic, and you didn't claim it. You absolute moonbeam.
I'm not saying I didn't claim it. I'm just saying it's £28.
You didn't bloody claim it. You haven't claimed it. The evidence is right there.
I'm not logged in on my Epic. Thank
yeah. You. Yes. You aren't logged in.
So you're going to make me load Epic now just to see whether I've actually bloody claimed this. Hang on.
No. Well, you can check. You can follow up next week to see.
There you go.
Next is Solstice. I'm not sure if this was free on Epic, to be honest with you.
I think Solstice was free on Epic as well, yes.
And
I'm sure it was.
I can make fun of myself here because I don't think I claimed that.
Fucking.
Well, let me see. But I didn't claim it. If it was free, I didn't claim. I think I forgot to claim that. So, yeah.
I think I remember when we first talked about this. It's one of those ones where I think we looked at it because it launched. If I remember correctly, when this launched, it actually launched as a free title. And I thought it looked particularly well polished for a launching straight into a free Epic game. So I genuinely can't believe you haven't claimed it. But I will make you feel better. I have checked in the interim, and they didn't claim Cube 2. So there we go.
Yeah, we'll move swiftly on.
We shall indeed.
And that we've talked about that for tech.
We've talked about the last one, of course we have. Absolutely.
Okay, we'll have a look at the 30-something other games coming to GFN. There is a couple which I like the look of. The Invincible, that has got good reviews. Dungeons 4, you can tell me if you want to jump in any of these. Dungeons 4, if you like Dungeon Keeper, if you're old like me and you play Dungeon Keeper, Dungeons 4 is for you. Let me see. Just lots of Game Pass games. I'm going to say it. It's not filler. Filler is the wrong word for it, but there's a lot of games there which you can see they're just trying to get onto the platform because they can through the Xbox sort of store. So when they go back to Game Pass, and a lot of these games were on Game Pass, and they probably will end up going back onto Game Pass at some stage just to expand. It's just there, so they're there and they're ready to go. Trailmakers has had a bit of an update, so if you want, and it looks okay, and that is on Game Pass. The one that got me interested when I did my trailer earlier, or my montage, but we'll go fancy and go montage.
We'll go montage.
The Wonderful One After School Hero. I didn't even know they made that. It's not a follow-up of sorts. It's like a wee mini Wonderful 101. Looks a bit nuts. I think it's reasonably priced. And of course, we're getting more of the Game Pass games. I'm disappointed that we don't see Football Manager there. We've talked about the Football Manager not being there. But I think we're going to get some interesting games during that over the next couple of weeks. This isn't it. Oh, what? Yeah, sure, there's another game I want to talk about here. Yes, it's at the top there. I can't pronounce it.
Onimusha?
Is it that? Click into that. Yes. Yes, it is that one. It's another Capcom game. So we've had some more Sega games, and we've now got a Capcom game. Another Capcom game. So hopefully we're going to see more there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think everybody we want to see more Capcom. We want to see more Sega. I think if we're honest, we want to see more of everything on GFN, don't we? Because we just want to consume as much as we can, because there's so many gaps and voids of what people play. So as much as we can is exactly what we want. Okay.
Are you ready to rock with the Xbox news? Or do you want...
Yeah, if you want to just... I'll stop sharing for a second. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so we're going to touch onto the Xbox news. I think the Xbox news was fine this week, no, or is it Mornfine? There was two games I didn't like. Hi, Yanto. How is it going there? Come on, Barry.
Ta-da. There we go.
Okay.
Evening Leisure Hub as well. Thanks for stopping by. Absolutely. Pop back later. Check it out. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, no, this was actually a good week. Or sorry, this was a good lineup. I could have. Do you know what the problem is? I can say from them games, I'm going to play maybe 2 of them, but I can recognize that it is it's a good haul, even though it's not for me. Does that make it better?
That makes perfect sense. But for me, that is the objective, the right view. You're taking out of it that there's 2 games there to play, but you're recognizing the value that could be to other people, and I think that's important.
The 2 games I know I'm 100% going to play in that list it's Dungeons 4 on GFN, and hopefully Football Manager on GFN. The other games I have no interest on. We've got that Yakuza game. Yakuza does not appeal to me, but I know that is a massive getting that day one. Spirity, I think looks atrocious, to be honest with you. I think it does. It's if you want to scroll down to it, I think it just does not look like a good game at all. It just we're going to have a trailer for it.
No, there's nothing there.
Fair play them for making the game, but I just don't like the look of it.
Well, that's you can't. I don't think you can't please everybody, though, can you?
No.
You can't make a game and universally go, "Oh, everybody loves that."
Yeah, good job. It's coming. It's going to GFN as well, so I'm equal ups here. It still looks rubbish. It's going to GFN before I get accused of things. It's made by what's that name of that company who drop all the games onto Game Pass, and they love Game Pass.
No more robots.
No more robots. For me, no more robots. Either it's a swing and a hit or it's a swing and a miss. For me, this is a swing and a miss.
Yeah.
Thirsty Suitors. I think that looks atrocious, and I don't think the only reason I would be playing either of them 2 games is if it's easy achievements, so I can boost my gamer score. It's the only reason I would be playing them 2. Especially that Thirsty Suitors. I think that would do my head in. I just looking at it, that game would do my nut in. I'm not holding back here, am I?
No, you're definitely not. You're not pulling any punches.
War Tales looks fine. I'd probably give that a go.
I would definitely say War Tales that's one on my list that I want to check out, because I was on the fence with buying it. Obviously, I didn't buy it. It's now come to Game Pass, and I now get the ability to obviously try that on GFN. So I'm looking forward to that, because there definitely there's something about it for me. Yeah.
Wild Hearts, I would give it a go.
Worth it.
Monster Hunter. I've always wanted to get into like monster hunting sort of games, so I would give that a go. But I'm not like woohoo, super duper. Coral, between the choice of the 2 cozy games, Coral Island and Spirity, I would 100% be choosing Coral Island.
I'm in agreement. That's one of my 3 off this list that I know that I definitely 100% play.
So that is 2 100% I will be playing are Dungeons and Football Manager, Coral Island, and would be a probable, and Wild Hearts will probably be a probable as well. The others, maybe we're into maybe more for War Tales. So I think that is a pretty decent lineup, despite me being completely and utterly negative about the number of the games. I think if you stand back objectively, Dungeons 4 is appealing to old people like me. Football Manager, if you're in the US, you don't realize how big of a get that is for Game Pass year in, year out. That is massive. We're talking we're not talking like Madden sort of levels, but it's like it's 100. If you go into Steam, usually around that when this releases, you're talking hundreds of thousands or hundred, or at least 100,000 concurrent players. It's going to be in the top 10 of most played games on Steam, and that's going on to Game Pass again this year. That game is a monster. It is so big. As Yakuza's Yakuza, or it's like a dragon, but it's Yakuza. It's Spur 2. I know that will appeal to people who are looking like Stardew Valley sort of stuff. Thirsty Shooter's just got its audience. I don't know what audience it is, but I know it does have an audience. War Tales, yeah. I think it's pretty decent.
Yeah. No, I think it is. It's a strong update.
Jimmy, I hope we get EA Football Club 24. It's not looking likely, but we'll probably come on to that in a couple of minutes anyway.
Yes, we shall indeed.
Was there any other news to do? Oh yeah, Samsung TVs. You can play GFN more on Samsung TVs.
Yes, so, that's the 2021s.
The 2021s.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm going to tell the story here today. I was in the middle of getting the news video where I was going to yap over it, and I had the script all wrote. I was talking over it, and I said, "No, we'll just do it like this, just to see how it goes."
And I think as you touched on earlier, I think it worked really well. Montage. Here's the games, little montage, because you're good at captivating that music and the trailers, and then we can properly talk about it in the evening.
Yeah, let's hope Diablo 4 coming by the end of November. Okay, I'm going to not leak something. Leak is too strong of a word. If you study
Steam, you're getting old, but
yeah. Oh hey! I'm just making sure I can say this. Okay. If you go on to Steam DB, there is a game which I know a number of people are wanting to come to GFM. That game has now opted into GFM. It is not Diablo, unfortunately. I think we're a wee bit early for Diablo. I think we're going to make, I would say, late this year. That is November. But I'm leaning more into next year. If we're going to get any Activision games, I think we're going to get Crash, prototype, and maybe older sort of games like that. Anyway, for a game which I think is going to come this month as a bonus game, I'm going to say Elder Scrolls Online.
He's both beat you to it.
Yeah.
Dear. But do you know what? I think it will make a lot of people happy. That dropping in will make a lot of people happy, because there are definitely people that want to play it.
Yep. So it looks like Elder Scrolls Online will probably come this month to GFN. I'm not saying it's 100%. It hasn't opted in for a mistake with all these other Bethesda games coming.
Definitely not. That's no accident. It's I think you could probably safely say that is a when, not an if.
Yeah. Then we're just waiting on the game which goes everywhere but still hasn't went to GFN in thingamajig. Skyrim. Okay, what's our big talk here for today? And tell me where you want to go with this.
So our kind of hot topic for this week, even though we've nearly burned through the hour already, but hey, our hot topic for this week is what is next for cloud gaming. So obviously, I think it's a case really with the changes and the things that have happened this year. Obviously, there's the whole Activision, being acquired by Xbox. and Ubisoft holding those cloud rights. We've seen competitors in the cloud space that have kind of gone quiet. Where do we think? What is next? And obviously, guys in the chat, jump in with what you think as well. What is next for cloud gaming? Where does it go from this point forwards?
Okay, just before I tackle that, it looks like the GFN issues are starting to resolve. They've ruled out a fix. Let's just see how things pan out there. So where do I think cloud gaming is going to evolve? We were wanting to do this topic a couple of weeks ago, so yeah, I think it's a good one. It wasn't entirely this, but it was more like the battle for cloud gaming. But that's the same sort of thing, and I think we are starting to see it. We are over the last month. Let's go through what the sort of updates here. I'm going to miss some out here. Luna. You can buy games on Luna now. I know people will get pedantic and say, no, you can always do that, but you just had to go for the streamlined the process. You can go on to Amazon Luna and bang, you can buy your games on there without having that extra step. So that's a good positive step. We have PlayStation 5 has pushed out, or PlayStation 5 games running at 4K. I know the results are iffy. Have you given it a go here?
No, I don't. I'm not premium, PS Plus premium, so
I haven't given it a go either, even though I am. The reason why I don't, when I'm telling cloud, I prefer it to be wired, and I was thinking of actually trying it, and then I keep on forgetting because I am very forgetful. So that's what I've done. PlayStation has pushed that out, and it seems to be atypical cloud gaming at this stage, where sometimes it's good for some people, rubbish for other people. From what I have seen, even from some of the more skeptical sort of ones, I'm not saying GFN quality, ultimate quality, but I think it's more than passable. Plus, you can play your bot games there, and we're still debating this if I'm getting that piece of kit or not. PlayStation Portal coming out in a couple of weeks. That's 100% going to be. That's 100% nailed on to be able to do that on the go. I'm telling you now, it is. If you read the blog there, so that's going to be another step forward for PlayStation. Xbox are still in the holding position because of this Activision stuff. I think we're not going to see anything out from them to maybe next year to get them on, but they will be bringing 4K without a shadow of doubt. They will be bringing your bot games. They're going to copy PlayStation. Who else is there to talk about there?
That's it from your main. The only other people you've got left really are probably your Boosteroid. Beyond that,
we don't talk about Boosteroid around here.
There you go. There you go. See, so
yeah, but I think people aren't realizing what PlayStation have actually pushed out here. Yes, it is tied to the subscription. Yes, you can't get around that. Just like Xboxes, I am sure will be tied to the Ultimate subscription as well. But you can buy your bot or play your bot games on there. And there's some cracking bot games. Plus, you've got your Fortnites and stuff like that, your free-to-play games. We're all going to see a convergence of sorts, and where everybody... We're going to be talking about ecosystems. My hope was we were going to get away from fighting and everybody could play together sort of thing. and just jump between the different services, go bang, 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 bang. I think we will get there eventually, but I think that the problem we have, everybody's too entrenched into their own ecosystems and they don't want to move. We need a bit more, and unfortunately Stadia has put us back. But with them closing, there isn't as much of an issue now. It's just going to be the main ones, with GFN carving out the PC market. We're back to GFN. If you want to play on PC, go to GFN. If you want to play on Xbox, who do you go to? Xbox. And when PlayStation roll out theirs, you go, if you want to play PlayStation games, you're going to go onto that. We're not going to get the mix and match of really what we want. The Ubisoft stuff is a complete another mind mess.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
But I would not want to be in Ubisoft's position, because it's just madness, the sort of stuff they have to go through here. We could be in a position of PlayStation owning the cloud gaming rights to the Activision games in an exclusive partnership outside the EU, because they have went into a deal with Ubisoft. And the thing is, Ubisoft own them rights. They can do whatever they want to them outside the EU. Inside the EU, you can go, hey, Mr. Ubisoft, we have just started a cloud gaming company. We want Activision games for the EU, and Ubisoft have to go, okay, there you go, mate, work away. This is a complete another nightmare, and Ubisoft are not, what's the word I'm looking, opposed to divvying up rights on an exclusive basis. We've seen that, or we should have seen this year with Stadia, where the exclusive bought rights for, if you're going to buy the game, we're going to go to Luna, because Stadia was not getting Mirage, because it looks like Luna bought the exclusivity in the cloud. I'm calling the cloud buying rights, or whatever way you want to do it. You buy the game in the cloud, you had to go to Luna to get it.
Yeah.
If PlayStation come on board and go, we want to buy the cloud streaming rights for the Activision games, and they drop the money for them, Ubisoft's going to go where the money is. So that means we could be in a position where on GFN you're going to see Call of Duty go to whatever it's called, Game Pass for PC, where you're not going to get that, but you might have to go to Ubisoft Plus to buy that, but you might not even be able to do that because PlayStation have bought the rights to Call of Duty off Ubisoft.
It certainly presents some challenges, doesn't it?
But if you're in the EU, you can play on GFN and use Game Pass. Get your head right, that.
No, absolutely, and I know obviously Caseball just said in the chat as well that obviously money talks, and I think it is a very valid point. But equally, I don't know, that I get this feeling that, I've got this feeling that, or hope, should I say, that Ubisoft are going to take a pathway to make it easy for the gamers to understand how they access the content. Don't get me wrong, when you add in all the dynamics and that sort of stuff, and Caseball's point about money talking, it's all valid, but I feel like from a place of making it kind of consumer friendly and people not being like, what the hell, I genuinely, that's my hope, is that life is not made difficult for gamers. It's made straightforward to understand, and it's clear if you want to play it, that's where you need to go. It's not a question of actually, but I need to work out this equation before I can figure out where I need to get it.
Yeah, it's going to be a complete mess. My prediction is Ubisoft will start dropping Activision games this month. I'm going to say no. The reason being because I think it's too damn bloody difficult, and they have to work it out. I think we're going to get them. I think we're going to get them. If we're going to get them this year, I think we're going to get them Christmas. Because technically, it is from the deal which was struck. So the new Call of Duty would be under that. Diablo.
Yep.
It's really weird, the sort of language that they were.
It is, and I think I found myself asking the question that whilst we've heard, Xbox kind of talk and infer that there will be no Activision titles this year in Game Pass, or that's what's inferred, that there'll be nothing this year. It does make me wonder, with Caseball's question with regard to Ubisoft, is there something there that says, well, yeah, they might not come to Game Pass in 2023, but you could go to Ubisoft Plus and you've got Activision games by the end of 20. Because to my view, from what I've seen so far, nobody has turned around and said Activision games won't be on Ubisoft by the end of this year. Nobody said that. The only people that seem to have said ABK games won't be on our service or won't be on this at this point is Microsoft.
And even then, that's just for Game Pass. That's not for the cloud.
Exactly.
I think it's a complete mess, and there is so many things need to be sorted. So I'm not expecting them this year. The only thing I am sort of expecting, I know Kamalis is saying that there's no big things in the last couple of months yet. Totally get that. I do think Microsoft or Xbox will be trying to push a couple of games onto that. Can Ubisoft Plus be part of Xbox Game Pass? No, because they did a deal. They've got a different deal going on there. You can buy Ubisoft Plus on Game Pass, or not even on Game Pass. Or sorry, you can buy Ubisoft Plus by itself and buy the subscription on top, which includes cloud and on Xbox for that £15 a month or whatever, or $15 a month.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here's the thing: there's so much on this; it's mind-boggling. If you want Ubisoft games part of the subscription, you go to PlayStation because you've got Ubisoft Plus Lite on PlayStation as part of their PlayStation Premium subscription. The problem we're going to have for the cloud going forward is we are going to see more and more cloud exclusives going forward, and I think that is going to become very apparent in the next couple of months and years to come. And that, yes, that is actually good for competition. In theory, I fucking hate it. But this is the reason why the rights were given to Ubisoft, was to try and encourage competition. Because if Amazon, we'll go for Amazon this time instead of PlayStation. If Amazon go, here we go, we're buying the exclusive rights for Call of Duty in the cloud. You can only play Call of Duty in the cloud by Ubisoft Plus on Luna. That is going to drive business over to Amazon Luna, which is then going to send the subscription figures up. Nvidia with GFN could do the same. They could go to Ubisoft and make that same sort of deal, and that will push GFN up while pushing the other ones, or keeping the other ones down. That is actually bringing competition, because this is what the thing with the CMA was wanting, was to drive competition. This is basically not allowing Microsoft free rein on that for 15 years, and it will be exclusive on xCloud. And it's just trying to drive competition in the short term.
Yeah.
You may not
No.
like it. I think it's a mess, but I understand the reasonings for it.
Yeah, I think definitely there's very clear understanding there, and I think it's interesting you've touched on card a couple of times there, and that for me is in the very short term, and I'll use the term short term, i.e., inside the next 12 months. That's one of the biggest things that Caseball referenced the fact that card is 213 gig. And I completely agree with his point. If that doesn't have cloud written all over it, I don't know what does. I feel like
World of Warcraft.
Yeah, another one, absolutely. And that for me, I think, is the very short-term outlook of what happens with cloud. We've got to a point where, let's look at GFN Ultimate right now. Fundamentally, the technology is sound. We know what we get. It's virtually, at times, dependent on your networking conditions, for a lot of people, virtually indistinguishable between playing in the cloud and playing locally. For a lot of people.
You're touching on that. I'm just going to say this, just to be fair. We had issues about a month or two ago. We were having issues.
Yes.
They seem to have gone.
They have gone. They have gone. You're right. They have. They have gone. But that, just kind of coming back to that point, is my short-term outlook on cloud is that the next vision is having content that they've not had before in the cloud. That for me is what our next 12 months look like. I don't think we're going to see massive leaps in terms of technological updates or amendments and tweaks in terms of fundamentally how we play. There may well be feature and integration pieces and things like that with all the different services to kind of make it easy for the consumer. But that's the very short-term vision for me, as far as I can see, is the ability to play games that we've never been able to play in the cloud before, and content in the cloud that make it a realistic choice for people to be able to play those games, where actually they find themselves in a position where they don't need a piece of hardware.
Yeah. It's I'm going to hark back to Stadia here. I think Stadia has killed the idea of short-term stuff, cloud-native sort of games. And if Stadia was around, this Activision malarkey would have been sorted about a year ago, because Google was still around properly. They wasn't. Sorry, a year ago is probably, that's too much. But if Stadia was still around 6 months ago, 6 to 10 months ago, and going well, and still saying we're building this next studio, they're still active and fully engaged in gaming, this Activision deal would be away, and we would be in a much different place. I think we would see Microsoft pushing their cloud stuff and talking about their cloud native games coming. We'd be seeing stuff out from PlayStation. PlayStation look like they're in a bit of a mess at this moment in time. This sort of stuff coming out now. They're switched to gas. They still need to switch to gas. I know there's a lot of people saying they don't need to go to gas. They need gas games for the long term sort of stuff. If Microsoft was to stop gas games as well, they would be in a lot of trouble, but they've got their gas games. They're doing, I've said it before, they're in different ends of the spectrum. PlayStation need more gas games, Xbox need more single player games. Which is easier to get? So it's all fun.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. It really is. And that's. I'm excited to see what it holds, but I do agree. I agree with that fundamental point in reference to Stadia. And I think somebody else actually said it further up in the chat as well, with regard to the fact that there were kind of some developers that had some cold feet, or who may have kind of jumped in and maybe feel like their fingers were burnt, if you like, by engaging with Stadia, because it didn't necessarily have the output or the traction that they'd hoped for, and that definitely is an effect that I think we're seeing. Is possibly you've kind of made some developers a little more skeptic, but hopefully with all the talk of the CMA talking about focusing on cloud competition and that sort of stuff, and the focus around that with regard to the deal going through, hopefully maybe that can start to bring some more devs out of the woodwork, if you like, to kind of go down that cloud adoption path.
Yeah. Basically, I think we're not in a holding position as too strong of a word here, but I think we're waiting for Microsoft's move, and I don't think we're going to get Microsoft's move until the FTC stuff is 100% done and dusted, and then they'll make their move. We're not talking like days after that; we're probably talking weeks or months after that. So if the FTC say tomorrow that no, we're ending it, we won't hear anything until next year about Microsoft's next cloud steps. But then what we're going to hear out from Microsoft next is they're spinning back up their cloud stuff because they've sort of wound it down, is more ticking it over while they were trying to get this all done. We're going to hear that they're spinning that back up. We're going to hear some of their cloud native games. Like, remember, we've got the Hideo Kojima game in development at Microsoft, which is a cloud native game. And yeah, so fun.
Absolutely, it's definitely a fun time still to be in gaming, isn't it?
Question: will we see sharing content like we see with movies, streaming, and gaming change that much? I'm going to make a prediction. We are, oh god, yes, we're 3 or 4 years away from seeing Game Pass and PlayStation, not more Game Pass stepping back a bit from day one on Game Pass for their first party titles. We're starting to see that in the streaming services where they're sort of now holding back some of the things before they go into the cinema and things like that, because they need to make money to cover the costs for the streaming or for their streaming services. I think we're going to be seeing that in games. I think we're still going to get day one on Game Pass, day one on PlayStation Premium, but I think we're going to see a knock-on effect where they're not going to do that. Or the worst option, in my opinion, is we're going to see more aggressive monetization on the day one on Game Pass. We're already seeing it slightly with day one on Game Pass, but pay us $30 and you get it 3 days early plus the season pass. That's the start, and I think you're going to see Game Pass will start to be, if it's not already for some games, the entry point. If it was a free-to-play game, you're paying the basic to just get into it. I think we're going to see more aggressive monetization, or they're going to drop the day one on Game Pass and say 6 months after, and it'll be a gradual thing.
Interesting. It's certainly an interesting thing, and that might tie in. Well, you never know. That might tie into some of the games or some of the IP that they've maybe, or not necessarily IP that they've acquired, but anything that's maybe in development in that context. You might see some of it fall into that category where they specifically don't do it with newly acquired content.
Thinking about it a bit more, I'm probably leaning more into number 2 rather than number 1, because gaming can get away with that a lot easier.
Well, yeah, you don't have actors that are going to line up and sue you for going straight to a streaming service in comparison to.
Yeah, and they can do the extreme monetization sort of stuff, and we've already heard that No More Robots guy. What's the No More Robots guy? Mike something. I can't remember his surname. Yeah, He's actually came out and said he's developing games. Ross.
There we go.
Mike Ross actually came out and said on Twitter that the development process for Game Pass games, he's actually making different to normal games. That he's making sure that there's DLC in it to make more money, and that's someone who's not actually a first party. It's someone who's got a real good relationship with Game Pass or with Xbox to put their games on the Game Pass, and he's actually dropping them the extra. Trying to think of ways to make extra money. He basically said people who play in Game Pass are more likely to buy content or DLC, and if it's going to game is going to leave, they make a package together and just find that there's a lot of people actually buy it, the joined up versions of it. So we're going to see more and more in that one. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
Wow, that's a question to ponder on, isn't it? Because it's, I mean, from a publisher perspective, developer perspective, you open that up into multiple revenue streams because you have the people that adopt the sub route who are then going in and taking on your DLC, and as the publisher developer you're making the money, and then you've also got the other revenue stream where the people that aren't attached to the sub are outright paying it. You kind of win-win.
Yeah, and here's the thing for you, because they're doing it like that, you're a big Xbox guy. I'm just saying you're a big Xbox guy, but PlayStation buy the rights to that game for their subscription service. So you're going to, they've made that monetized because it's going into a subscription service. It's not going to be on the subscription service you subscribe to. So if you want to get that game, you're going to have to buy that game, which is actually going to be more money because it's like piecemealed together because it was going on a subscription service.
Yeah. It's look at that.
Yeah, we're not going down the extreme route of free-to-play games like on mobile, but we're getting into strange sort of territories now. At this moment in time, it isn't really affecting us because it takes that long for games to develop. I think we're maybe a year or two away from these sort of games coming to the service, these subscription services, and that's going to be, we're going to find out in our pockets soon enough. So this is why we want competition. We don't want Game Pass to take over. We don't want PlayStation Premium to take over. We don't want any of these sort of services to take over. What we want is the mix of services, because we want these weird games. What's that weird game I've been slagging off all night as your lights go out?
If the lights go out.
Yeah. The one's gone on the Game Pass.
You on about Spirit Tea?
No, that will go for Spirit Tea. It was actually the other one. But one game's like Spirit Tea. No, we don't want to use that example, but we'll use it anyway. It's games like Spirit Tea, even though that's the game from the developer, No More Robots. But yeah, we want games like that to take advantage of Game Pass to be a bit more creative. But are we going to get them 2 or 3 years down the line? Because it's going to hurt Xbox's bottom line. It's going to hurt PlayStation's bottom line. Are they going to put the games on which are once one and done for a bit of variety? Or are they going to put the games which they put it on and then they can make money in their 30% cuts for the DLCs? This is, unfortunately, gaming is not all sunshines and roses. It is a business. A lot of people forget it is a business.
Yeah, I think people do very easily because you get so easily consumed and attached by the content that you involve yourself in that you completely forget all of that.
Yeah, we do. So I think we will end that there.
I think that's a good point to wrap it.
If you've got any questions, big topics you want us to cover, drop them in the comments here, and we will try and do that there. Yeah, Caseball, absolutely heartbreaking that was. And yeah, I hope the fundraiser goes really, really well for him.
Yeah, I hope so. I definitely hope so. Absolutely,
Yeah.
because it's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah. But thank you all for watching. Let us know what you think about this. Comment below. And how was that? You finish that off?
What would you like me to say? I don't know.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all again soon.
There we go.